In the 1990s, Las Vegas sold dreams for pocket change. $1 shrimp cocktails, $5 buffets, and hotel rooms that cost less than a night out back home. It wasn't just cheap, it was generous. A city that made ordinary people feel extraordinary. But in 2025, that illusion is shattered. A budget breakfast can run $40, parking costs $25 a day, and even comped rooms now come with $50 in nightly fees. The Strip is crowded yet soulless, busy yet strangely empty, and reviews echo with words like scam and ghost town. Workers confess tips have collapsed, visitors feel cheated, and longtime fans swear they'll never return. The lights are still flashing, but the magic has burned out. Today we uncover 5 harsh realities that explain how the city that sold dreams became a cautionary tale. We dug through the rubble of Vegas's glory days, 42.5 million visitors in 2019, $5 steak deals, and comps flowing like cheap beer. Now, tourism is down 5%, $40 bagel combos are common, and $26 water bottles are the new normal. Our criteria focus on hard data from the Las Vegas Convention Authority, worker voices echoing across Reddit and union reports, and the sky-high costs that push out middle-class families. This isn't just about empty casinos, it's about corporate greed gutting the very soul of Sin City. Imagine a bartender watching loyal regulars vanish because a coffee costs more than their slot winnings. From post-COVID chaos to Wall Street takeovers, every step tightened the noose on Vegas's charm. Curious about what went wrong? Let's unpack the story behind Sin City's fade. Reason number 5 might feel like ancient history, something we should have moved past by now, but the scars are still visible all over Las Vegas. When COVID-19 hit in 2020, the Strip went dark for the first time in its modern history. Hotels locked their doors, casinos powered down, and tourism collapsed from 42.5 million visitors in 2019 to just 19 million in 2020. Nearly 250,000 hospitality workers, dealers, bartenders, housekeepers saw their jobs vanish overnight. For a city built on constant motion, that standstill was a shockwave, and its after effects continue to haunt every corner of Sin City. What began as an emergency shutdown morphed into something deeper, a rupture in loyalty. Longtime visitors broke their habits, retirees stopped their annual trips, and international travelers discovered alternative destinations. Families that once treated Vegas as a sure bet learned to spend their vacations in Orlando, Nashville, or on road trips closer to home. Once those routines were broken, many never came back. The return of tourism after restrictions lifted didn't restore balance. It exposed cracks. To fill empty rooms, hotels slashed rates in 2021 and 2022, but that brought in rowdier, less profitable crowds. Violence on the Strip spiked. Videos of fights in casinos and hotel lobbies went viral, and police presence had to be doubled. The glamour of Vegas felt tarnished, not just to outsiders, but to locals who saw their city morph into something less safe, less special. Workers bore the heaviest cost. Union surveys from 2021-2023 showed nearly 30% of hospitality staff were either laid off or had hours cut permanently. Many never returned, leaving a vacuum that corporations filled not with better jobs, but with automation and cost-cutting. Self-check-in kiosks replaced clerks, fewer cocktail servers roamed the floors, and housekeeping became on request only. Guests interpreted these shifts as indifference, and resentment grew. Economically, the city has never fully recovered. Even by 2024, visitor counts were still below pre-pandemic highs, but prices climbed faster than ever. It's a paradox. Fewer guests paying more for less. Locals whisper that the city feels busier but emptier, a stage set without a soul. On Reddit, ex-employees post stories about abandoned careers. On TikTok, travelers share clips of deserted casinos contrasted with overpriced menus. The lingering sense is that the Vegas of today is a shell, flashy on the outside, hollow at its core. And this is why the pandemic isn't just a chapter in the past. It's the foundation of the collapse. The shutdown cracked the trust between Vegas and its most loyal audience, and every decision made since, higher fees, weaker service, Wall Street ownership, has only widened that fracture. If Vegas feels wrong in 2025, it's because the aftershocks of 2020 never stopped. The lights came back on, but the glow never truly returned. If the pandemic cracked Vegas's foundation, the attempt to rebuild it on the cheap nearly shattered the rest. When travel restrictions eased in 2021 and 2022, casinos and hotels slashed room rates to lure people back. On the surface, it worked. Foot traffic surged, weekends looked busy again, and marketing campaigns bragged about Vegas being open for business. But the crowds that returned weren't the loyal middle-class families or retirees who once made the city thrive. Instead, a different wave filled the Strip, rowdier, less profitable, and more volatile. What seemed like a solution quickly became a problem. Viral videos captured fights breaking out in lobbies, brawls spilling onto casino floors, and arguments erupting at buffets. Police had to increase patrols, and security budgets ballooned. For locals, the Strip felt less like a glamorous playground and more like an unpredictable street party. For visitors, especially those who remembered the old Vegas, the shift was jarring. A city once associated with indulgence and luxury now carried an edge of danger and disorder. Economically, these crowds didn't deliver. Guests lured by $29 hotel rates often skipped shows, avoided expensive restaurants, and spent little time at the tables. Bartenders reported smaller tabs, dealers saw lighter betting, and restaurants noticed higher no-shows. The math was brutal. Hotels filled rooms but emptied profit margins. What's worse, the atmosphere drove away the very customers who used to anchor Vegas's reputation. The steady, higher-spending guests who sought fun, but also comfort and safety. Workers noticed the difference immediately. Bartenders spoke of longer shifts with more arguments to diffuse, not more tips to count. Dealers described nights where players fought with each other instead of focusing on the game. Security guards admitted burnout from constantly breaking up confrontations. Instead of a city where everyone felt like a high roller, Vegas began to resemble a pressure cooker, boiling with frustration rather than excitement. Online reactions mirrored reality. TikToks of strip brawls racked up millions of views, fueling the perception that Vegas had lost control. Reddit threads warned newcomers about ghetto crowds and chaotic weekends, while TripAdvisor reviews painted a picture of ruined getaways. Stories of guests cutting trips short circulated widely, people who came for fun but left early, unsettled by what they experienced. And unlike the cheap thrills of old Vegas, these weren't the kind of stories that made others want to visit. By 2025, the reputation damage lingers. Cutting prices brought bodies through the doors, but it traded long-term loyalty for short-term chaos. Instead of restoring the Strip's magic, it diluted it, filling neon-lit halls with noise but not with joy. The gamble backfired. In trying to rebuild fast, Vegas undermined the very image it needed to protect. Crowds alone don't make a city thrive. It's the kind of crowd that matters. And in chasing numbers, Vegas ended up attracting the wrong ones. If slashing room rates brought the wrong crowds, handing over the keys to Wall Street made sure the city's soul wouldn't return. In the past, Vegas was run by hoteliers and casino bosses whose business model was simple. Keep rooms cheap, keep drinks flowing, and make money when guests played. It wasn't altruism, it was a win-win. Guests felt spoiled, and casinos profited from their longer stays and freer spending. But in the 2010s, ownership shifted. Major players like MGM Resorts and Caesars sold off their real estate to firms like Blackstone, turning Vegas into a portfolio line item. By 2025, much of the Strip isn't really run by showmen anymore. It's run by spreadsheets, and spreadsheets don't care about magic. Instead of comped buffets, visitors get $50 resort fees. Instead of free parking, it's $25 a day. Cocktails stretch to $26, while bagel breakfasts top $40. Every corner feels monetized, every gesture transactional. What used to be a city built on generosity now feels like a city built on extraction. Workers whisper that decisions aren't made in the casino anymore. They're made in boardrooms a continent away, where the only goal is squeezing a higher quarterly return. The effects ripple through everything. Marketing is glitzier than ever, but service is thinner. Employees report rising quotas, shrinking teams, and relentless cost-cutting. Guests sense it immediately. Lines get longer, rooms dirtier, staff less attentive. The human touch that once disguised Vegas's hustle has been stripped away. When you're treated like a number, you behave like one, spending less, tipping less, returning less often. Online, resentment builds. Reddit threads rail against corporate Vegas, comparing the Strip to an airport terminal designed to drain wallets. TripAdvisor reviews highlight hidden charges that feel like scams. TikTok videos contrast vintage footage of $5 steak dinners with today's $65 plates, mocking the city's bait and switch. For potential visitors, the message is unavoidable. Vegas isn't run for your fun anymore, it's run for someone else's balance sheet. By 2025, the Wall Street takeover has rewritten the unwritten contract between the city and its guests. The old deal was, we'll treat you like a high roller while you spend. The new deal is, we'll charge you like a high roller no matter what you do. That subtle but devastating shift explains why so many say Vegas feels wrong. The neon still dazzles, but behind it lies an accountant's ledger, and no one ever booked a vacation to feel like a line item. If Wall Street ownership changed the mindset of Vegas, relentless price hikes changed its reputation. For decades, the city thrived on the promise of value. $5 steak dinners, cheap buffets, affordable rooms. By 2025, that promise feels laughable. Breakfast combos run $40, cocktails top $26, parking is $25 a day, and nightly resort fees climb past $50. A weekend that once cost under $200 now routinely approaches $1,000 for a middle-class family. The sting isn't just in the numbers, it's in the betrayal. Vegas marketed itself as the place where ordinary people could feel extraordinary without breaking the bank. That illusion collapses when every receipt feels like an ambush. Guests describe the experience with words like nickel and dimed, scam, and ripoff. Reviews on TripAdvisor and Reddit echo the same story. People arrive excited but leave bitter, their wallets drained and their patience gone. TikToks comparing old menus with current prices go viral, showing the absurd leap from $5 steak specials in the 90s to $65 entrees today. The symbolism is devastating. The city that once invited you in with bargains now pushes you out with sticker shock. Workers feel the backlash directly. Bartenders report fewer tips because customers spend reluctantly. Dealers see players bet smaller amounts, cautious after realizing how much of their budget was eaten by food and fees. Housekeepers hear complaints not about their work, but about the cost of the room itself. Morale drops across the board, creating a vicious cycle. Unhappy guests make for harder shifts, and stressed employees deliver worse service, which only fuels more unhappiness. The math shows the damage. Visitor numbers remain below their 2010 peak, but average daily rates for hotels are higher than ever. The city is making more money per guest, but fewer guests are coming, and those who do often say they won't return. It's a short-term cash grab that mortgages long-term loyalty, and once trust is broken, it's hard to rebuild. By 2025, the price hikes stand as one of the clearest signals of Vegas's decline. They don't just raise costs, they change the story. People no longer talk about $1 shrimp cocktails or $5 buffets. They talk about $40 bagels and $26 water bottles. That shift in narrative is fatal, because Vegas was never just about gambling or shows. It was about the feeling of getting more than you paid for. When that feeling disappears, so does the magic. And without magic, Sin City is just another overpriced stop in the desert. The clearest symbol of Vegas's decline isn't just the higher prices, it's the endless hidden fees that turn every moment into a transaction. In the past, the Strip built its reputation on a simple, almost honest deal. Cheap rooms, cheap food, and the understanding that casinos would profit from your time on the floor. By 2025, that deal has been shredded. Guests now face a minefield of charges for things that used to be free or never should have cost money at all. Early check-in, $30. Late checkout, another $30. Printing a boarding pass in the lobby, $5. Ordering poolside, a convenience fee, plus an automatic service charge whether or not you saw a server. Even minibar sensors are designed to bill you the second you move a bottle. The effect isn't just financial, it's psychological. Visitors who once felt welcomed now feel hunted, picked apart one fee at a time. Families watch a $50 lunch inflate to $80 with add-ons. First-timers, dazzled by glossy ads, walk away muttering, "Never again." Longtime fans shake their heads at what the city has become. The resentment travels fast. TripAdvisor reviews, Reddit threads, and viral TikToks share photos of surprise charges and warn others to brace for the same treatment. Instead of memories of fun, guests carry home stories of being nickel and dimed. Workers can't escape the fallout. Bartenders lose tips because gratuities are already baked in. Dealers overhear players complaining that their bankroll is gone before they even sit down. Housekeepers feel the sting when guests, soured by hidden fees, skip leaving cash on the pillow. Morale erodes across the Strip, and the human warmth that once softened Vegas's hustle is nowhere to be found. By 2025, hidden fees stand as the most visible marker of Vegas's unraveling. They're not just line items on a bill, they're proof that the city has broken faith with its guests. The Strip still glows under neon, but the fine print tells a darker story. And nothing kills the magic of Sin City faster than realizing the most elaborate trick isn't on stage but on your receipt. Looking back at these 5 reasons, a bigger picture emerges. Las Vegas didn't just get more expensive, it rewrote the very deal that made it magical. For decades, the Strip thrived on an unspoken contract. We'll spoil you with cheap rooms, free perks, and a sense of being a high roller, while you spend freely on the floor. That contract kept middle-class families, retirees, and first-timers coming back year after year. But starting with the pandemic shutdown, every decision since has chipped away at that trust. Cheap rooms brought chaotic crowds, Wall Street ownership prioritized profit over people, price hikes and hidden fees turned generosity into extraction. The result is more than just higher bills, it's the collapse of an identity. Vegas once gave ordinary people extraordinary weekends. In 2025, it often gives them frustration, resentment, and a story of being scammed. And stories spread faster than neon glows. TikToks of surprise fees, Reddit threads of fights on the Strip, reviews of dirty rooms, these travel further and last longer than any glossy ad campaign. Reputation, once Vegas's strongest currency, is being spent faster than it can be replenished. The tragedy is that it didn't have to be this way. Vegas didn't lose to another city. It lost to itself, to greed. That blinded it to the simple truth. People will spend freely when they feel valued, but they shut their wallets when they feel tricked. And until the Strip finds a way to restore that trust, the lights may stay on, but the magic will stay gone. Vegas's story is no longer just about bright lights and jackpots. It's a cautionary tale of how greed can hollow out even the most dazzling of cities. From pandemic shutdowns to Wall Street takeovers, from rowdy crowds to relentless fees, Sin City has traded its magic for margins. But the question is, can Vegas ever win back the trust of everyday travelers? Or is the Strip destined to be a playground only for the wealthy? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Have you noticed the change, or do you still see the old Vegas sparkle? Drop your experience in the comments. And if you found this breakdown eye-opening, hit like, share with a fellow traveler, and subscribe for more deep dives. Until next time, may your travels be richer in memories than in receipts.